trusting that he'll make the right play.
And that will be a flagrant foul.
5 times, sometimes in spectacular fashion.
Dennis Rodman knew they all cheated. But the scary part is how many fans never saw it happen. The old NBA was not soft. It was brutal. It was physical. It was full of legends who would do anything to win. But here is the truth nobody wants to admit. Anything to win meant breaking the rules when referees were not looking. And Dennis Rodman, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year and 7-time rebounding champion, understood the hidden game better than anyone. He did not just play against these 7 players. He studied them, he survived them, and he exposed every dirty trick they used. These were not just tough competitors. They were masters at hiding fouls in plain sight. They knew exactly when to throw an elbow, exactly when to grab a jersey, exactly when to drop a shoulder. And the referees, overwhelmed by the chaos, missed most of it. Rodman did not. Number 7, Danny Ainge. Not all cheating happened in the post. Some of it happened on the perimeter, with hands, hips, mouth, and acting. Danny Ainge was one of the most hated players of his era. He used jersey holding, subtle hip checks, verbal trash talk, and flopping to frustrate opponents. Unlike Bill Laimbeer, who relied on pure intimidation, Ainge weaponized the rules. He would grab your jersey during a cut, then act shocked when you pushed him off. He would say something under his breath to get you angry, then fall down the second you touched him back. The referees only saw the retaliation. His career was full of incidents that proved how dirty he really was. In the 1994 playoffs, he threw a ball directly into Mario Elie face. During another game, he ran under James Worthy on a fast break layup and knocked his feet out from under him. That kind of play can end a career. Rodman's early career with the Detroit Pistons was shaped by battles against Ainge and the Boston Celtics. In Game 4 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals, rookie Dennis Rodman delivered a massive chase-down block on Ainge. It sparked a huge Pistons run and immediately started a physical fight between Rick Mahorn and Darren Day. That block taught him that the best way to beat an instigator was to match his mental games with explosive defensive energy. Larry Bird was also part of that Celtics era, and he relentlessly taunted young Rodman. Bird would yell to his teammates, "I'm open! Hurry up before they notice nobody is guarding me." He told Pistons coach Chuck Daly, "Who's guarding me? I'm going for 60 if nobody's on me." Rodman fired back with controversial comments, saying Bird was overrated because he was white. Isaiah Thomas publicly agreed before claiming it was all a joke. Despite the hostility, Rodman's energy helped the Pistons break a 21-game losing streak at the Boston Garden in Game 5 of the 1988 Conference Finals. That win sent Detroit to their first NBA Finals in 31 years. Number 6, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq was the hardest case because the league almost had 2 different rulebooks for him. Because of his size and strength, referees allowed extreme contact both ways. Defenders could hit him harder than normal players. But Shaq also got away with dropping his shoulder into defenders' chests and using his off arm to clear out space. Rodman knew he could not stop Shaq once he caught the ball deep. So his strategy was pre-catch denial. He fronted Shaq, leaned his entire body weight into him, and forced him to catch the ball 15 to 20 feet from the basket instead of 5. In 1993, the Detroit Pistons were getting destroyed by Shaq. He was dominating Bill Laimbeer. So Pistons coach Ron Rothstein switched Rodman onto Shaq with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Rodman completely shut him down. Shaq did not score a single field goal for the rest of the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, he took 1 shot and scored 1 point. The Pistons won 98-97. After the game, Rodman said, "I love to play against guys who are supposed to be great players." 3 years later, in the 1996 Eastern Conference Finals, the Chicago Bulls used the same strategy. Rodman fronted Shaq constantly. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen ran quick double teams to force him to pass. Shaq went scoreless for nearly 2 quarters. Off the court, their relationship was just as competitive. In 1996, Shaq signed a 7-year, $120 million contract with the Lakers. Rodman mocked the deal, saying, "If I were an NBA owner, I would not give this guy $120 million. Shaq fired back, saying Rodman only talked when he had Jordan and Pippen backing him up. The two briefly became teammates on the Lakers during the 1998 to 1999 season, but Rodman only played 23 games before criticizing the team as arrogant and undisciplined. Before we continue, leave a comment. Which old school player do you think got away with the most dirty tricks? And make sure you subscribe, because this channel breaks down the stories that box scores never show. Number 5, Charles Barkley. Barkley and Rodman were both undersized power forwards. Barkley was listed at 6'6", Rodman was 6'7". Neither could rely on height to win rebounding battles. So they fought for position before the ball even hit the rim. And that fight was full of uncalled shoves, hip checks, and low body leverage. Barkley was a master at using his lower body. He would lower his center of gravity, then apply a subtle shove directly to an opponent's hips just as they were about to jump. A small push at the exact right moment can completely ruin a rebound attempt. The defender goes up off balance and watches the ball bounce into Barkley's hands. Rodman knew every trick Barkley used because he had his own version. In a Sports Illustrated profile, Rodman admitted he would sit on Barkley's knee when he bent down to jump. He would grab his shorts to restrict his vertical leap. He would push him deeper under the rim so the ball bounced over his head. It was a dirty chess match. In 1988, Charles Oakley got so frustrated with Rodman that he physically slammed Rodman's head into the floor during a game. Tim Hardaway later said that Rodman knew never to mess with Oakley because Oakley wore the pants in that relationship. Number 4, Alonzo Mourning. Mourning was different. He did not hide behind a calm image. His game was built on force, pride, and emotional intensity. He threw his shoulders into defenders. He used excessive illegal contact in the paint. And Rodman saw his emotional intensity as a weakness. So he attacked it with bizarre psychological warfare. John Salley explained the strategy on the All the Smoke podcast. During the 1997 Eastern Conference Finals, Salley and Rodman developed a plan to confuse Mourning. Salley would tell Mourning, "Swing at me. I promise you, you should swing at me." Then he would add, "Dennis thinks you are cute." Rodman would stare at Mourning's legs and say, "His calves. Look at his calves. Got great calves. How did you get calves like that?" This was completely disorienting. When Mourning tried to assert physical dominance, Rodman weaponized his aggression. In Game 4 of the 1997 Eastern Conference Finals, Mourning locked Rodman in a headlock, dragged him to the floor, and landed a punch. Rodman did not retaliate. That made Mourning look completely out of control. Both players were fined $5,000. But Rodman's non-retaliation fired up the Bulls. They beat Miami 100-87 in Game 5 and eventually won the 1997 championship. The psychological battle continued into the 1998 regular season. After a physical matchup in March where Mourning elbowed Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, Rodman dismissed him to the New York Times. He called Mourning a $17 million punk. Mourning's pattern of losing control continued to hurt his team. During Game 4 of the 1998 first-round series against the New York Knicks, Mourning got into a massive brawl with Larry Johnson. He was suspended for Game 5. Miami lost 98-81 and went home early. Number 3, Bill Laimbeer. Before Rodman exposed these tricks, he learned many of them from the master. Bill Laimbeer was the bad boys enforcer and Rodman's mentor. He did not just bend the rules, he systematized pain, rule manipulation, and psychological destabilization. His tactics included undercutting airborne players, throwing elbows during rebounding battles, and using theatrical flops to get offensive fouls called on his opponents. One of his most dangerous moves was sliding his feet under jump shooters like Larry Bird. The goal was to make them land awkwardly and possibly twist an ankle. It was not just about the current play, it was about making them afraid to shoot the next time. Laimbeer taught Rodman that physical play was most powerful when it made opponents lose control and retaliate where referees could see it. You hit them where the ref is not looking. They hit you back where the ref is looking. You win. That lesson became the foundation of Rodman's entire defensive philosophy. Laimbeer was so associated with combat-style basketball that in 1991, Nintendo developed a video game called Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball. But he was also an elite rebounder who played 685 consecutive games, the 5th longest streak in NBA history. Rodman took Lambier's lessons and evolved them. He combined supreme lateral footwork with psychological warfare. On November 19, 1993, Rodman returned to Detroit as a member of the San Antonio Spurs. He battled Lambier in the post. The confrontation escalated into a heated argument. Rodman was ejected with 2 technical fouls. The student had used the system against the man who created it. Number 2, John Stockton. The Utah Jazz had a second kind of rule bender. Karl Malone's physicality was obvious, but John Stockton's was hidden behind a clean image. Despite looking like a fundamental point guard, Stockton was widely recognized by his peers as one of the most physically subversive players in league history. Former Chicago Bulls guard Steve Kerr described him as a dirty bastard. Stockton's tactics included grabbing opponents' jerseys during cuts, setting illegal moving screens, and delivering sharp, low blows to the midsection. He studied Isaiah Thomas and learned how to test the boundaries without getting caught. His public choir boy image acted as a shield. Referees expected him to play clean, so they overlooked his infractions. Rodman respected this hidden aggression. He said Stockton was as mean as they come and would slip you an elbow when the refs were not looking. Elite guards like Gary Payton and Baron Davis confirmed this. What made this rivalry interesting was the unwritten players' code. During one game, league officials investigated whether Rodman had headbutted Stockton. When the NBA office contacted Stockton, he repeatedly denied it. He said, "If he headbutted me, I do not know about it." Stockton later reflected that the league cared more about fines than suspensions. He said, "You had to have a bone sticking out of your arm to get someone penalized." Stockton's physical resilience allowed him to play 16 full 82-game seasons. He only missed 54 games across a 19-year career. Number 1, Karl Malone. Malone was a great player, but his physical dominance included devastating uncalled elbows and off-the-ball wrestling. His signature move was using his elbow to clear space under the rim. The elbow would disrupt defenders before they could get balanced. It was calculated. He knew exactly how to hit you just hard enough to move you without drawing a foul. Malone's battles with Rodman peaked during the 1997 and 1998 NBA Finals. They constantly wrestled off the ball and tried to manipulate referee whistles. The rivalry became so dramatic that it crossed into professional wrestling. World Championship Wrestling president Eric Bischoff encouraged Rodman and Malone to create physical moments during NBA playoff timeouts to promote their upcoming pay-per-view match. In Game 6 of the 1998 Finals, Rodman tripped Malone and drew a technical foul. NBC commentator Bob Costas openly criticized the intersection of basketball and wrestling, but the financial results were undeniable. On July 12, 1998, Rodman and Hollywood Hulk Hogan defeated Malone and Diamond Dallas Page at WCW Bash at the Beach. The event drew a 1.50 buy rate and 580,000 buys, making it one of the most financially successful sports entertainment spectacles in history. Malone was paid $900,000 for the match. Rodman was paid $1.5 million. The crossover proved how real their basketball battles were. Fans paid to see them fight because they believed the hatred was genuine. And it was. Malone was not just strong. He knew exactly how to use strength where referees had bad sightlines. He knew when to throw the elbow, when to lean into a defender's chest, when to grab and hold without getting caught. So here is the question. Was this real toughness or cheating hidden behind the old school label? Leave a comment and let us know. These 7 players helped create one of the most intense eras in NBA history. They were tough, they were skilled, they were unforgettable. But Dennis Rodman exposed something most fans missed. In that era, the smartest players were not the ones who followed the rules. They were the ones who knew exactly how to break them without getting caught.